Well, it's a good evening from the studios here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And today our guests are from the UK, none other than our co-host, Andrena, who's in the top corner there. Our guest is in the middle. And I'm here in the sunset of Australia as we end our day. And so without further ado, I'll hand it over to Andrena, and she can bring in our guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, wherever you are in the world. And today it's the 25th of September, 2025. We're cruising through these months so fast. Anyway, without further ado, it is my great pleasure to have lovely Amanda Gazidis on the show. So welcome, Amanda. So lovely to see you again.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So I've known Amanda a little while, and we've only connected briefly, haven't we, in Glastonbury in different talks and what have you. And I know I follow Amanda in all what she's doing in many ways, and I know she's got a wonderful support. And I know we're going to cover lots of things today. I don't know how we're going to put it all in a nutshell, but you are quite an outspoken activist, I suppose, really, you could say, especially in Glastonbury, but you are a very grassroots campaigner. And I always say we're all coming in at grassroots level, and we're, churning everything up. All, those of us that are working together. And I know, like, your dad was a politician, so you've had a very vocal start, I would think, with your dad. And I know you're very artistic. You've done poetry and art, and you make beautiful things. You're at the markets and wherever. You're very much into Nikola Tesla. You've got a campaign for the World Heritage to stop, and I know you've got over 3,000 signatures, which is fantastic. So I take my hat off to you in all what you're doing. So thank you. So you're leading that campaign. You're also doing a film with Jack Cox, so it might be able to touch on as well. And you're also doing the group Protect Sacred Avalon, and that's growing. So let's start at the very beginning and just see how it all interweaves, because I know you were born in Africa. So would you like to tell us a little bit of your journey?
Yeah, well, I was born in 1967 in Johannesburg. And my father was actually a political prisoner against the apartheid regime there. So when I was a baby, when I was just 1 year old, in 1968, we came over because my father couldn't obviously get work in South Africa. So I was born to Greek South African parents. They were second generation Greeks who lived in Johannesburg. And I've lived in Britain ever since I was 1 year old. And my father's always been, quite an inspiration to me. Well, my parents, because they literally gave up their lives in Africa, which was a very privileged life for whites at that time. My dad went to Wits University, which is the equivalent of Oxford there. And my dad should have had a bright future. He was a doctor, training as a doctor, but my dad has a very big heart, and was very passionate about standing up against apartheid. So we paid the price. So in a way, we're in exile over here, but obviously I am a British citizen. I've been here all my life. I'm 58 now. So yeah, very brave parents, and I kind of have seen how my dad has worked politically, and without consciously knowing it, I suppose I grew up with activism around me. These are my parents, sort of quite young romantics, bit like James Mason and Doris Day or something like that. But so yeah, I mean, they're amazing inspiration. My parents both came over to the UK. And my dad became an epidemiologist, believe it or not. And then my mum was a filmmaker. So this is my dad at political rallies. He's actually been stabbed in the heart at political rallies. And it's a miracle that he lived to the age of 88. Sadly, we lost him earlier this year. But anyone who met my dad was just absolutely almost mesmerized by his charisma. So he was a shining inspiration. And this is when he passed away earlier this year. There was a Guardian tribute to him, and he was quite well known in South Africa, a bit lesser known over here, but very charismatic man. So in a way, he showed me about bravery and about stepping forward for the things you believe in.
Definitely. My gosh. And I bet he's pushing you forward now.
I think he is.
No rest for the good girl. Right, carry on.
I'm just trying to think. So, my early years, we moved all over the UK. It's never really very settled. So we went here, there and everywhere. I've had quite a rich and varied life. I've lived in Bali and Botswana as well. And, I've had a lot of life lessons along the way. But my calling has always been, weirdly, to Avalon. And I previously spent 7 years here. I left for 10, and I've been back now for for over 2 years. And it's a strange place. It kind of like really calls you here. Yeah. Before I moved to Avalon, the first time I saw these like coloured doorways, like fairy doors. And it is a really remarkable place. And as you know, Andrena, people talk about it as being the heart chakra of the world. It's an immensely creative, eclectic, accepting town. I mean, I don't know anywhere else in the world really like it. I'm sure there are similar places. I've heard Nimbin in Australia.
Yeah, Nimbin, I was going to say, is
So, I felt a sort of calling to go to Glastonbury many years ago. And when I first lived there, I did a lot of poetry, spiritual poetry, really sort of giving homage to the place of Avalon. I became a bard of Inniswitrin. Inniswitrin is the old name for Avalon. And I was in the finals twice. And I researched all about Avalon and also the sacred landscape. So more recently, I've been stepping up this campaign about the identity of Glastonbury, which I really want to preserve. And most of the people who live here or also who visit here absolutely love the identity of the town. It is just so unique. So recently I invited reporters to come and cover this story. And they came and spoke to myself, Tatanka, the lovely Tatanka, who has also helped a lot with this campaign, and Merlin of Avalon. So that's just a bit about, the campaign's been going since I started the petition last October, and it's gone from strength to strength, really. And like I say, other people have come along and helped a lot. We've had meetings, we've had rallies, we've been very proactive, and we've been really hoping that our voices will be heard. And, what we visualize is what happens. So we have I got the message, there are many ways to protest. This is a picture taken at the assembly rooms. We had an absolute blast that night. We had Dolly Parton playing. We had a band from Bristol, the Spectacles. And everyone who came said there was a special kind of magic in the room that night. And it did kind of show me, it doesn't have to be all really serious letter writing or standing up in the council meetings, although I do that as well, the ropes, like, the freedom of information. But sorry.
I was going to say you're only allowed, is it 2 minutes in the council meetings? They give you 2 minutes to rant.
That's right,
say what you need to say. Not much, is it really?
They give you 3 minutes. I know that Sandy Adams did go viral and they allowed her to talk a little bit longer. But recently, the last time I did talk at in the council, they didn't include the public participation, which was very disappointing to myself and the other people who were speaking. Because obviously we had a lot of support. I even got some claps at the end of my speech.
There was a lot to say.
Yeah. So,
do you talk fast in those 3 minutes?
To
get it all in. Anyway.
you had to really pare it down. But yeah, a lot of people have been very disappointed that the council has cut out this public participation, and we feel it is, even though we've written in, they say it's not censorship, but we're a little bit, we kind of think that the voice of the people needs to be heard.
Exactly.
So,
totally, 100%. But they are, you know, they're like, it is the undercover movement, isn't it? You know, more and more people are coming together, and you don't need to be marching and bannering and all of these things. You just do it peacefully and quietly. And, you know, like Carol and a couple of others at the peace march on Monday, which was lovely, and people were smiling, and I'm really, because the energy was all about peace, and we were peaceful, you know, people were smiling and, you know, taking videos and pictures as they do. But yeah, it's just, there are ways of doing things without upsetting the apple cart, but coming in like the undercover movement.
Definitely. And I mean, we did have a rally on the 2nd of August, and it ended up being a real party in the in the town centre. We sort of called this rally. We didn't have a PA system. It was all a bit chaotic. I created some banners and things like that. We got there, and this amazing band called Mobius Loop was just playing there. So that was really, that was really, we didn't plan any of it. That was serendipitous. So, you know, there's all these amazing twists and turns along the way. And a lot of it has been a lot of fun as well. And like you just saw in the pictures that just came up, we've got this flyer, which presently is going throughout the town, because there was no public consultation initially with this bringing in the World Heritage, or, you know, there were talks. Yeah. Sorry.
Why do you think that might be?
Well, it was mentioned on some leaflets that went out, and it said vision by 2040, Glastonbury will be a World Heritage site. But there was no actual, you know, consultation or anything like that, to my knowledge. The consultants did do presentations where they presented their leaflets to the town, but that was more of a selling exercise. So we've taken it into our own hands. We created this logo, Protect Sacred Avalon, because we think it's a better image and better visualization than Stop, you know, World Heritage. So this is about protecting all of Avalon, although the main theme is about the World Heritage, because there has been some concerns as to what's been going on at Bridie's Yard as well recently.
Bridie's horrendous, isn't it? You know, we just got the picture of Bridie's Mound there, what they've done. Which is just all gravel, isn't it? It's just,
they've put hard standing over the top of the mound, and people who work with the Mary energies there, you know, have had to work it and move the energies away. But I went up there, and because I sort of look for spiritual signs, there was a whole flock of, or murder, whatever you call it, of ravens coming right over me, sort of like squawking, and it was like, whoa. And I went up there. They did a lot of the priestesses as well spoke out about it, and there was this kind of saying, you know, 1,000 priestesses with shovels at dawn, you know, and it was kind of what they were talking about, going up there and shoveling it up. But I went up there yesterday, and there was a promise that it would all be removed, but it was still all there, and you know, it's quite upsetting really to see that going on. But these flyers we got 10,000 of these printed. We had lots of people power. About sort of 20 of my friends have been helping flyer the town with this. It's been wonderful. We've kind of come together, and there's also this opportunity to vote. So the lovely Fairyland Aromatics on the High Street and So, you know, we're going to present this to the council. So we haven't really stopped, but you know, we don't want it to be a really sort of hard energy, because that's the kind of energy we want to move more into the new world with it, the new earth. But we just want to preserve what is so beautiful and sacred about Avalon, you know, which is a magical place to live and to visit. And you know, people that I know who, had never even heard of Bridie or Bridget, have gone to the Abbey and had visitations and things like this. And Bridie's mound is actually as old, if not older, than Iona, the monastic site there. So, these things, they may not have been at the, to the attention of everyone, like the tour is obviously a big focal point. But, we also want to honour the ancestors of the place and preserve them.
Yeah. So let's mention the film that you and Jack are doing.
Yeah, so Jack has a wonderful website called Glastonbury, the Heart Chakra of the World. And for the past 6 months, we've been interviewing people a little bit like you're interviewing me now. So we started with Draupadi, who's a local resident and ceremonialist. And the last interview we did was with the wonderful Maria Wheatley, who is well known for earth energies and also discovering the elongated skulls at Stonehenge. So she really understands on a sort of, I know she's out in Malta at the moment, and she understands on a global level what is going on with this sort of UNESCO thing, trying to impose their own narrative on these temples, really. And Glastonbury, as she points out, is a living temple, as Avebury is, because people actually live there. It is a community. So it becoming a World Heritage Site would have a huge knock-on effect to all of us residents. We're the Indigenous people here. We live here. So we've got all these interviews. We've also got an interview with Merlin of Avalon and different local people's views. Some are more spiritual, some more on the political side. And what we're going to do is we're editing it at the moment into a film, probably no longer than 1 hour. We went to Stonehenge and we did some filming there as well.
I mean, I went there when I come back from Australia, and it was like a military operation. You go through, you have to wait for the coach, you get on the coach, you get off the coach, you go round, you get back on the coach, it was horrendous. It was just like, and I know this has been going on for a long time, but, words fail me at times. Not very often, but.
Well, we were both genuinely shocked, and Jack is a senior, and he had to pay nearly £30. So just for us to go for the day was £60 for both of us at a weekend. And I would liken it to going to an airport, because you arrive at this huge Disney-run gift shop, and then they have shuttles that take you to Stonehenge, which is a mile and a half away, and then you're sort of there. It's all cordoned off, so you're not allowed to sort of interact with the stones. Although we did see one lovely lady meditating, but she was at quite a distance. So they do allow people on special occasions, but it does kind of smack quite a lot to me as becoming a bit of a cash cow now. And we did speak to one of the guys from English Heritage there, and he was actually saying how UNESCO World Heritage kind of basically they're the big bosses that tell them what to do. So, and those people who argue that World Heritage protects sites, well, it didn't protect Stonehenge from the tunnel which they wanted to build. It was only money that stopped that from happening. So, and the same thing in Liverpool with the dockside. They wanted to, they actually took the UNESCO status away because they built high-rise blocks there, but they didn't actually prevent it from happening. But yeah, it's a real tragedy. And, it was, we were really downcast after going to Stonehenge, and it should be a place that we can, commune with and feel that immense spiritual energy there.
Totally. So is there anything else you'd like to mention about the sites or, the campaign or anything else what you're doing? Because then we can go on to your lovely stuff that you do as well.
Okay, so we've got a website which has got everything there on it, which is www.stopworldheritageglastonbury.org. And on there, it's got the petition and it's got everything there. And also I have my own YouTube. I was deplatformed about 4 or 5 months ago from
You're in the
Facebook.
naughty corner.
Yeah, I was permanently deplatformed, but
Yeah.
luckily my lovely housemate is a computer expert, so he kind of set me up again. So as a result of that, I've started my own YouTube channel called Amanda Ambles, where I walk and talk when I'm out walking my dogs. I talk about what's going on in my life. And being an HSP and all of that, you know, I'm not like this hard-edged person. So I kind of show my vulnerable side. And I also talk about the campaign on there. So that's Amanda Ambles on YouTube as well. So those are the other things. So, yeah, you can find everything on that website. You know, you can find what's going on, events, and we will be posting the film on there as well. So I guess the campaign's kind of enveloped my life quite a lot, but I do other things as well.
Right. When do you think your film will be ready?
Well, we're hoping in the next month, and all the flyers will be out by the end of next week, I would say. So 10,000 of them. So so we're hoping to have a kind of day of it. And Andrena, you know, you're more than welcome, and we will invite people along for the day, and we will sort of celebrate this film, and, you know, have a community celebration as well, you know, and invite people to perform, because, you know, another big interest of mine is music, poetry, art. And I've done quite a lot of, you know, running events on that side of things as well. So, you know, we want to have fun in life as well. We don't
with a capital F, I always say. You know, it is about bringing back the fun and the joy. You know, we've had all this separation issues and all of this, you know, the dramas that have happened. And it's the time now is we are coming together to uplift each other, to share communities and all sorts of things. But having the fun, you know, because laughter has been in short supply with some of the things that go on. And sometimes you see some of the stuff is still going on and you think, oh my God. But anyway.
I mean, I run this thing called Poetry and Cake in Glastonbury. And the thing about laughter was the last one I did was the Sunday before last. And all we did was for about half an hour laugh. And I realized how much I'd kind of missed that and how much we need that.
Yeah.
And we need to sort of like sustain ourselves, you know, and all of those wonderful things that, you know, creativity, art, all of those things I'm very passionate about. In fact, last night I was at a poetry reading my friend was doing over in Wedmore. So, yeah, there's a whole other side of my life, which is, you know, about healing, about art, about poetry. I have done talks about Nikola Tesla. As you mentioned earlier, I'm a really big fan of everything he did and everything he stood for. And in fact, I have a whole library of his books, which I've read. And I've been at Kew Stoke. I did a talk. I don't know. There's a wonderful woman, Lisa, there, who runs events. Lisa Borg. She runs events at Kew Stoke. And a lot of them are about positive solutions. Because, we all kind of, those of us who have awakened, we kind of know what the score is. But if we're fighting against that, then that's the old way.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's really good to, And through COVID times, I was a yellow boarder. I was one of those yellow border people holding up the yellow boards. But I also founded something called the Awake Tribe in Bristol, where I gave a platform to people who weren't well known, didn't really necessarily have a name, but they were healers, they were musicians and different people. I would hire out halls, often Quaker halls and things like that, or little basement halls. But it was just so magical, and I never pre-sold tickets, and yet every single seat in the house was always full. It was utterly magical.
Fabulous. Yeah,
it really was. And you know, I've since had emails from people saying, "Thank you so much for giving me my first gig, or my confidence to do the first gig." So I did a gig for the Spectacles. I did a gig for a lovely friend of mine, Claire, as well, who's a quantum healer. So that's a whole other side of, I guess it's, my background is teaching, so it's that organizational style, but like transferring it to other things as well. So I have a Tesla violet ray therapy machine, which is amazing. Although I'm wearing glasses, that it does actually improve your eyesight. I've had sort of miraculous results with that, where people haven't been able to walk for 3 months. You use the machine on them and they're leaping out of the chair. So
and it's all natural.
Absolutely. And it's working with the molecules in your body and oxygenating the good cells, you know, and it's there's
so much out there, isn't there, at the moment? So many different health gadgets and products and but it's all about fine-tuning our own being, and it to be the best version of ourselves so we can help others along the way.
Absolutely. And you know, we talked a little bit earlier about the 432 hertz, how all music used to be attuned to that, and the bells in churches as well. And you know, it's that well-being, being aware of our well-being. So one little thing that I started doing is I have the heart soul tuning fork next to my bed, and first thing in the morning I play that, and I rub kind of like really beautiful sort of oils into my belly button, and I play that first thing. And I used to kind of reach for my phone, but I do that now. And it's about bringing these rituals into our everyday lives, things that will nurture us. And one thing I've really learned on this journey, and although initially it was exhausting, now I kind of transformed the whole thing, and it feels like a very different sort of journey. But it's up to us to transform our way of thinking and being.
Exactly. Yeah. And send love to a lot of these numpties that are doing things that we're not in alignment with.
You've got a beautiful energy. Every time I've met you, you just emanate that sort of love, light. You live it, you know. And it is about living what we preach, if you know what I'm saying.
I'll say. Oh my God. So with your art, because I know you've got stalls in different places and you're venturing out, which is lovely. So like you make all sorts of things, don't you, on your you name it, you make it.
Yeah, I made this necklace, I made these earrings, I find things on the beach. If you can see on my stall, I sell sound healing things, which is wonderful. I have musicians and children come to my stall. I'm doing a stall in Shepton Mallet, and they love it there. The singing bowls and you know, little organite pyramids and things like this. So I do like to go to places which wouldn't ordinarily necessarily have these items. We're a little bit swamped with all this kind of thing in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
But you know, I make all my jewelry. Recently I made some little ghosts with names, and I make jewelry, and I just love it. And I do little paintings of fairy doors and all kinds of things, and I get a lot of joy out of talking to people about the things I make and inspiring people. So yeah, it's really fun. And we're thinking about also going to another local place to sell my wares. But I've always been a bit of a barrow woman. Even when I was a little kid, I had a little stall. When we lived in Portsmouth, I'd have one of those little toy tills, and I'd be sitting there with a little table on our street, you know, even at the age of 3. So I think I've got it in my blood somewhere.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh yeah. So your art.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I have actually, I don't know if I've got one around here. I've created a children's book called Wish, Wonder, Surprise, which is let me find a little bit of my artwork. Let me just see if I've got something here. So, for instance, if you look at this is an example of a book cover that I designed. This was a lovely spiritual lady in Tunbridge Wells. So I love to do kind of imaginative watercolors, as I guess you would call them. And recently I did another book cover for a friend of mine who did a book, Gary Miles. So, and in 2011, I wrote a book called Wish, Wonder, Surprise. And I, with my Steiner training and all my years of teaching with young ones, and the forest school stuff, I put it all into a book form. So it's called Wish, Wonder, Surprise, if you want to find it, Amanda Gazidis. Yeah. It's all illustrations by me. And at the moment, I'm illustrating a book called George and the Glastonbury Dragons. So off the back of my sort of childlike illustrations that I've done, I've been commissioned to do that. So I'm just at the moment, I've just created George, and I'm just drawing the dragons for it. So look out for that book. So we have dragon ceremonies, the white and red dragons. So this book is kind of personifying those dragons and trying to bring the spirit of the dragons of Glastonbury into a book form for children. Plus, yesterday I was commissioned to do a mural of a Native American as well. So I'm very active with my creative work. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Do you sleep at night?
No, I think I veer on the ADHD side. I think of things. I'm kind of like that's my superpower, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. And talking of dragons, I was up with Shirley and Ken this week before I came back, and like she's a beautiful artist, and she's got one with the white dragon and the red dragon, and she'd taken from different pictures and put it all together, and that was stunning. I said, "Oh, that's so lovely," because we were talking about you and the podcast coming up.
She's so talented.
And she showed me her art studio and all her pictures, and so I said, "Oh, you'll have to come on the podcast and share your beautiful work. It really is stunning."
Oh, for sure. I mean, she showed me the first painting she did. And I mean, I went and studied art and a PGCE and all that. And she just seemed to be one of these people who could pick up a paintbrush and paint a
magic happens. Mine didn't pick up a paintbrush and I got a blank screen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a magnet for pine cones and fir cones. I'm terrible. There's like a forest up here, and I come back with all these different cones. There's a tree with these long ones, and I've sprayed them pink and gold, and I don't know, I've got them in a box. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but I can't. It's the pine cone energy for some reason. So
you could do mobiles, or you could
I've got to sit and have a think. I've got to sit and be for a while instead of buzzing about here, there, and everywhere.
Oh, but you enjoy life, and you live life to the full.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had a few issues where I've been really ill, excuse me, for a long time, and coming back from Egypt, that knocked me for 6, and so it's taken me a while to rebuild because I don't do. Hospitals and doctors have their place, but I don't. I'm alternative as best I can. So things. What had happened had knocked me for 6. So it's taken me a while, and I take my drops, the turmeric and cumin every few days. Now I don't take it so often. And I'm 75, and I still got so much life in front of me. And so when I have, I'm laid still and I'm not very well, that's fine. But then when I'm better, well, hello, life's out there, and you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
There's 2 lovely souls. We had Eric Pelham on the show. I can't remember what months, but, he's passed to spirit. And then yesterday I put up David, another soul. And so you just don't know, what life is. When you're going to be promoted, you don't get a date saying, "Oh, you're going to be promoted next week." When you get the call in, you're gone. So you've got to make the most of every moment. And I love life. I love going to the beach. I love going to the woods. I love talking to people. I can't help myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And where I get my main healing is walking on beaches, walking in forests. That's the most important thing to me. Yeah. And next week I'm off to Devon for a few days with a friend, and it's just nice. It's just to embrace life, isn't it? And to love life.
You're always welcome down this side of the world. So I'm by Poole, so you're always welcome down here. So
thank you. Yeah. I had a friend, Liz Josie, living over that way. I think she's she's a lovely spirit. She's a lovely energy.
I knew her when I lived in Bristol, going back. We used to go to the Positive Living group, and I thought, gosh, look at her journey now. She's changed her name, and she's the other side of the world.
Yeah, she got a one-way ticket. That's embracing life, isn't it? It's all about having faith, and sometimes you have to let go, and I think that's the biggest lesson. I did a video of let go and let flow, because I've had some challenges recently, but the answer is letting go, and so things can come into you. Yeah,
you really got to trust your journey, because I might think, right, I'm going to stay in today, and I'm going to maybe try focus on some arty-farty stuff, And then all of a sudden I've got a thought to go to the beach, and I think, oh, do I want to go to the beach today? And then, but it's just so strong. I think, okay, I go off to the beach. You know, you just have to follow where you're guided. And sometimes I think, well, what am I doing over here? But you just know that, you know, you don't have to go and say, I'm going to activate a stone, or I'm going to do this. You just be there and know that it's happening, don't you?
I'm finding it harder and harder to make arrangements, to be quite honest. But being a highly sensitive person, I can find spontaneity a bit tricky sometimes, but I'm learning. Yeah. Like I got a message from my friend, can you meet me? And I thought it was tomorrow, but it was yesterday. And it's just sort of like things, especially in Glastonbury, everything just happens in the moment.
Oh, God.
And you bump into the people you're meant to see, and it's just crazy.
That's why I come back here for a rest.
Yeah, exactly. It is full on here.
So I go up and have my top up, if you like, and I mean, we went to the heart gathering in town hall with Adrian Lee, and that was fabulous. I mean, so many souls coming together. You know, it's like another light grid. You know, you all come together. You're raising the light. And it's just important, and new connections are made all the time, you know, so we're all rippling out in different ways, helping each other and bringing people together, and, you know, setting up groups. But I see that there's a certain F book is going to stop all these community things, you know, the little groups apparently. So I don't quite know how that's going to work, because I'd set up a couple private groups for different things. So I don't think they want all these private groups to be able to share all the wonderful things that's happening. So anyway, there must be ways around it. I don't know what that is at the moment, but so your love of Glastonbury has been amazing, and all what you're doing in Glastonbury. So why do you think Glastonbury is really worth protecting?
Well, it's an incredible place, and you know, itself has all of the energies from the entire world. You have the Michael and Mary line going through there, and people go up there and have epiphanies, and you know, they're so thankful for it, and people love the fact they can go up and drum at midnight, or they have access to it. I mean, some people do camp up there as well, but it is a place of spiritual pilgrimage throughout, for people throughout the entire world. So it's just, and I'll never forget the first time I walked up the tour. I walked up with my partner at the time when I was in my 30s, and that's my street that I live on. That's Benedict Street. I love it. I walked up and I looked out on, you know, the levels, and he was telling me all about when it was a series of 7 islands, which reflect, you know, the stars as well in the sky, Sirius and things. So I think it goes right back to Lemuria, it being a center with the tour, and you know, it's a real enigma as well, because a lot of our history here and our myths, they're not set in stone. It's like, you know, obviously we've got the myth of King Arthur and Guinevere at the Abbey. We've got all these wonderful shops. We've got, you know, it's just such a wealth of history. And we've got Weariel Hill, where Joseph of Arimathea came with Christ. You know, this is not necessarily fact, but there's a lot of proof that it happened with the Weariel Hill Holy Thorn, and the thorn tree there. It blossoms twice a year. And last year it blossomed 3 times a year. So there's just all of this incredible history, both on the pagan side of things, on the Christian side of things, and right the whole spectrum across of different faiths here, from Sufism to Hinduism. And it's just, it's a kind of a melting pot, really. It's a cauldron here. And it's just, the Abbey, you know, has incredible history. You know, it was large. It was more important than Westminster Abbey. It was actually longer. So you can imagine what a grand place it would have been before the dissolution of the Abbey. And you can still sort of walk through the grounds and almost feel, you know, and did those feats in ancient times. The New Jerusalem song almost like comes through you when you're walking the land. And and it attracts so many artists, pilgrims and seekers and healers. It is, like you say, it's a center for all of these things. People come and put on.
It's a magnet.
It's pure magic here.
Yeah, and they're all encased in such a small space, aren't you know? It's just incredible, because like I've had quite a lot of people on the podcast from Glastonbury, because there's so many talented people there. We could do one every day of the week on different people's lives, and stories that people share, and it's just incredible.
Definitely. Most people who live here have had some kind of like awakening or epiphany, or they've seen the tour and they've had a past life with it. And I've had visions before I came here, like the doorways and myself sitting around a table as a green woman. And I don't know it. And it seems to be a place that really inspires the imagination. So it's really good for artists here. Like Shirley was saying, how she started painting when she came here and things like this. People they discover talents that they never really knew they had. I didn't really know that I had it in me to do this activism thing, but here I am.
Well, there you
go.
Yeah. So what else would you like to talk about today? Because I know we're talking on lots of. I must say one thing, that what they've done to the Abbey, the new courtyard, I think they've taken the heart and soul out of it. I really think. I can't.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it just is so bare and empty. I thought they were going to do something, with a cover over and I don't know, like looking out onto the grounds a bit more or something. But and they're expensive to go in. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
All these places, and it's so sad. But anyway, that's my little.
Yeah, I mean, I did make a video about that actually on my YouTube channel. I probably will make another one, and a lot of the locals are very disappointed with it. And along with the modernization of it, it's like a piazza style, almost a kind of like European type thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are linking that with the coming of the WHS as well, and thinking, well, this is almost like a taste of things to come, like with the glass fronts that are all etched, and then the sort of seating area out the front. And it's not done in sympathy with the ancient nature of the Abbey, and it's taken away a big part of the actual museum. The museum was the bit where you could see about the history, and it's kind of turned it into a bit of a soulless front. And the gift shop is really like the one at Stonehenge now. It's full of generic things. There is one place, but it used to sell all local crafts and arts and things, and it makes me sad, because I used to go there 2-3 times a week with my dogs. They used to give them dog treats at the entrance, and now they're all wearing designer glasses, and they're not being too friendly. Along with this modernization, it's gone with a change of attitude. And my friends were visiting recently, and we went through, and they noticed it was a little bit cold and steamy. So, this is a very important place. So how you feel when you go into the place, it shouldn't be all turnstiles and glass and modernization, but.
It's a shame that they don't interact with the locals more and say, right, we want to set up a courtyard and make it for people to come in, and we want to do this. What suggestions? And I'm sure people could have done it at a fraction of the cost. Maybe brought the prices down a little bit, but they don't. They don't link in, like different places. Why don't you ask the people? The people live there. They support you and paying your wages and what have you. Why do you not just bring them together? Like even a dozen people, and say, well, what do you think? How would you do it? And bring something together. But it's just not the way they're going, is it?
No, there was 23 million afforded to the town under the town deal.
We knew about that.
So some of that money has gone towards Bridie's Mound. Some of the money has gone towards the Tor Leisure Centre, which is just across the way from me, which has actually benefited the community. And I do go there most days and do classes, but there's been a whole fiasco about the money gone missing for the red brick building, and none of it has really inspired the confidence of the local people. So people are questioning, where 2 million was spent on the entrance of the Abbey. So it makes us a little bit skeptical, really. And the fact that it says that there is community engagement. And if you look at the writing on the Town Deal site, it does say that we helped shape it, but we don't see a lot of evidence of that actually really happening. They do open days and they invite us, but a lot of people don't always know about the open days and things. But what really needs to happen is, on boots on the ground, they need to sort of like consult us on a one-to-one level, and even small assemblies or something. But we feel like we're sort of shouting and we're speaking out, but it's usually too late. And unfortunately, there was one suicide over I don't want to bring the tone down, but there was one contractor that wasn't paid something like thousands of pounds, and his wife committed suicide over the red brick building. So
when you come in from street into Glastonbury, I mean, it's a real eyesore there. It's like a builder's yard, and it's been like that for so long. You think they'd be tidying that up for people as they come in, to have a better. When you see it, you think, God, what a mess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to come on here and moan and groan about it.
We don't want to moan.
But it does seem like the money's been used on these big boulders, some at the back of the tour, and they've spent a lot of money on these boulders to sort of prevent vans from parking up. So the sort of the free-spirited, loving feeling of Glastonbury, there are those boulders, and then there's these huge kind of planters, these big steel planters. So it seems like we're paying our council taxes and things, some of us, and we're not that happy about what it's being spent on.
Sorry,
we're not. What we can actually see it being spent on. It doesn't seem to be benefiting us. It seems to be more sort of like this kind of pushing things away more than celebrating the town and the spirit of the town.
And what other things have you got lined up at this moment in time? God.
Well, like I said, we're going to have this day event where we will invite people to. There will be musicians. We will show the film, and so that's happening. And I'm also planning to do some talks about what my journey's been like, and about. I got the words a toolkit for grassroots campaigns to try and inspire other people who may feel like they can't stand up or have their voice heard, just to sort of give them some tools or some ideas or inspiration. So I'd quite like to make a little booklet to go with the talk, and I'd quite like to do that. I'm doing that in March at Qstoke, beginning of March. They've agreed for me to talk there. I was due to come down your way, but unfortunately it was cancelled. But hopefully this talk I'll be doing at the Gert Dog next summer, and maybe some other festivals, particularly the Awake festivals. I'd like to sort of share what I've learned along the journey in the last, 10, 12 months, because it has been quite a journey,
And it's inspiring others, isn't it? It's giving others that permission to step up or to see what they can do. Like you say, a lot of people don't know what they can do or don't feel they can do anything. But gosh, any little bit to help makes such a big difference.
Yeah, and working together is key as well, and like, so I get people contacting me saying, oh, I'd like to help with the flyers. And so I'm just like marking it off with my marker pen. It isn't all high-tech stuff, but luckily I know the town quite well because I just know quite a lot of different streets. And it's just lovely encouraging others, even if it's just doing their street, flyering their street, that's a big help. And it's all about us helping each other and inspiring each other, isn't it, really, at the end of the day?
Yeah. More so than ever, eh? So where's your favourite place to be in Glastonbury?
Oh, that's a big question. Let me just think. I really love I really love walking through the Abbey. I really find that's really grounding.
Yeah, the trees are beautiful.
Trees, and the little wild area, and it's particularly good. I have greyhounds. Well, I have one greyhound, and it's just it's lovely because you don't get dogs running up to you and things like that. And it's literally 5-10 minute walk from my house. So I do love the sort of rolling, the orchards and all the buildings there. I do really love the Abbey. And I love Wiriel Hill as well, although I don't go up there probably as much as I would like. But I love the fact that on Wiriel Hill, the Holy Thorn has been, there's a new one planted, and you can see the Tor from there. But unusually, my other favourite place is Wells Road Cemetery. And I go there a few times a week because I find it really peaceful. And a lot of my videos on Amanda Ambles are in there.
I've
I've
not been there myself, but
Dion Fortune is buried there. And,
that's true.
Yeah, I go to her grave and it feels like visiting my oldest friend, and I get messages. It sounds a bit wacky and weird, but they're always very reassuring. And so I sit at her grave, and it is like she sort of links me in with the Akashic and this sort of like this pool of healing, because she's a really wonderful person. And she wrote a book called about Glastonbury, Avalon of the Heart. So to really see Glastonbury she believed you go in through the heart and through meditation. She ran meditations that many people throughout England would join her on, and they would meditate on the Tor during, the time of the war, with German, the German occupation and things like this. So I very much connect with her at Wells Road Cemetery, but her grave is very understated, which is amazing. So you kind of, part of the thing when you go there is like, you're not shown, it's not a big gravestone. It's not like, here it is sort of thing. It's very low key place. And I find it really healing and really, really calming there. And also, like you were saying earlier, Andrena, about, we got to make the most of life. And I think it is quite good to realise that none of us are going to get out alive in this, at least in this physical form.
That's right.
We will go on to, we will ascend or go into other planes. But it is quite good to also just sort of have that connection that life isn't infinite. Well, it is infinite on a spiritual way, but maybe on the physical plane. So,
And you've got to make, like I said, excuse me, you don't, different things happen to your body, or you go somewhere and you fall, or, you just don't know. You've got to be totally in the moment, because like whatever's gone is gone. You can't change it. You can only learn from it. And whatever you're thinking about the future hasn't happened yet. So, and it's literally like moment by moment, day by day, of totally being in alignment where you are and trusting. So, and I mean, if you haven't got your health, like I say to people, if you haven't got your health, you can't go in the health shop and say, can I have £22 worth of health today? You are responsible for your body. And it's not always easy, because when you look at the some of the products and the stuff they got in there, there's, I've looked at it says plant-based. Well, I can't see anything there's a plant in there. So I don't know where they get plant-based from, so you just got to be so aware of, there's things in these drinks and packets and all that are not of the best quality. And I think this is making a lot of people sick, because they don't do their homework. I mean, I'll read the labels as much as I can, but half of it is like a different language. Unless you've got a book with saying what this one does and this and that does this and you just don't know. It's and I suppose if you buy a lettuce, there's nothing on there that's got any ingredients in, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's good to go to like we have a farmer's market on a Tuesday, and they grow a lot of veggies up at Paddington Farm near here, and there are, we do have the local butchers for those who eat meat. So there are, and then we know where things are coming from. So it is more expensive, but it's like Richard Vobes talks about, they only get stuff from the farmers markets and things like that, but it isn't always within everybody's price range. This is the issue.
Right.
And it came to me the other day that actually food industry, that is a weird thing, isn't it? Food industry, because it's an industry. They're making a lot of money out of this. So they're packaging and they're promoting it all, aren't they? And it isn't necessarily the best thing for our health at all.
No, could be renamed. But I mean, I stayed with my friend Sarah, and she took me to Mere Farm Shop. I've been there a couple of times. I tell you what, I mean, it's just like a little outbuilding, and nobody is in there selling you the stuff. It's all in boxes. It's all priced. The paper's there, the pen and the calculator. But I've only been there twice at the moment. I didn't know about it before. But the food in there, I've never tasted such. The tomatoes, carrots, the food has been so vibrant and tasty. You know, I said to the lady last time, I said, I got on her what you do. And I said, because the quality of food here, and it's so cheap. I got like 2 or 3 avocados for £1, and it was silly prices. And well, as I see it, but it's affordable. But it really, definitely, if nobody's been, go to Mere Farm Shop. It's really lovely.
I haven't actually heard of that, and it's just down the road from me, you know.
It really is lovely. I've never tasted recently such lovely quality food. And you know, like some of the things, you know, like I always have a smell of tomatoes and things, but there's no smell to these things. But so anyway, that's I would highly recommend going there. It's very affordable and much cheaper than the Plymouth supermarket.
Yeah, there's also, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mirror.
MERE, I think.
Yeah, MEARE.
Oh, is it?
So we've also got something called Bridie's Yard, and they have an honesty shop. I don't know if you've heard of that in Glastonbury.
That's an honesty box. Yeah,
and they get things in bulk in there. So all grains, and if you want black seed oil and all those kinds of things, they get all this stuff there. So and that's open, you know, and the community can go there and just write down whatever it is they get, and it's a lovely shopping experience as well. So that's another local place, and I'm sure.
I haven't been in there in years. I got to be honest, but and if you can, it's nicer to get from local and support local while you can, because you just don't know. You know, these big wigs all come in with their changes, and you know all these fake ID and all of this stuff. You know, this going on. Anyway.
And we're quite lucky with the allotments here in Glastonbury. So I don't have one presently, but through lockdown and things, I had an allotment when I lived in Tunbridge Wells. And honestly, the space itself, because I didn't have a backyard, I didn't have a garden at that time. But my allotment was a 5-minute walk, and it literally, it's not just the food that I was growing, it was actually everything else. It's being in nature for my own well-being, sitting there. Friends used to come to my allotment and just chill out, and I build a little pond there and things. So it's this whole thing, isn't it? And I think a lot of people realised a lot of stuff during lockdowns and during that time in 2020 about the price of like woodlands and things like that, and land has got it's gone up because people have realised the value of that, for themselves, for their well-being as well.
Yeah, and you look at at the moment, the trees are laden with apples and pears and black. You know, like I've had so many blackberries. Like I've had enough vitamin C to last me a while because you're going along. But you know, I've been to a few friends' houses, and the trees are still full of apples. It's incredible. You know, this year I think we've had some extra sunshine. It's really brought all the fruits on. And I know my friend's got a little garden, and she's been doing her own kidney beans and cucumbers, and I've come back with, you know, fresh grown stuff, and it's lovely. You know, it's so, the flavor is just so different. And you know, I ate it when you go in and you buy when I've gone in the supermarket and you buy a cucumber, and it's so tightly wrapped in his plastic, and I go, sorry, cucumber.
Imagine how it must be feeling.
Exactly.
Hey,
And also,
that shop's not coming up, mate. You sure you spelled it right? Because it's taking me up to Doncaster.
no, it's
How do you
in
pronounce it? How do you spell it?
Meare. It is in the village of Mere in Glastonbury,
Yeah.
isn't it? But
Yeah,
I
Mere
don't,
is about a mile away from here.
I don't know whether, I don't even know whether they advertise. It was only my friend said, we'll
I've
go to
never heard of it. That sounds amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
And also,
So,
you know, foraging as well is a good thing. So at the
Yeah.
moment, a lot of my friends, I mean, the hawthorn at the moment around the tour is just so abundant. We
Yeah.
haven't seen a crop like it. And a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know are sort of really into herbalism, and they're, you know, and they're picking all of these and they're making leathers, making tinctures. There's the lovely Sarah Honeysmith, and she's got a little shop on my road. I'll just give her a little plug because she's a herbalist. She makes all these lovely, I take them every day. This one's a love potion. She makes these lovely herbal tinctures. And I honestly, I'm never without one. I've got expansion, love potion. And she's literally like number 20 on my street. And I walk down the road and pick
All
up
right.
these
Okay.
frequently.
I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, last time I was over at her place, she was making hawthorn ketchup. And then then we're planning a trip up to Sand Bay, up near Qstoke, because there's all this sea buckthorn. It's just out in profusion at the moment. So we want to get a load and freeze it all. And so, yeah, it's really good to know about the foraging side of things too, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get to Qstoke in one of their meetings, but it's quite a trek from here, so it's not something I do in a day. So
yeah, you're really welcome to stay here as well, Andrena. I've got a spare room, so.
Oh yeah, I saw you. Yeah, because I said to your friend, thank you. That's very kind of you. Well, same here. Look, if you want to come down to the ocean and.
I love the sea so much. I do cold water swimming as well as often as I can, which I absolutely love. Yeah.
I'm not very keen on because I just find if it's really cold, the water, I get like pins and needles on my body. It's like sharp electric shock. So, yeah. So, and I bought.
That's what's doing you good.
Ouch. And I bought this wetsuit.
I saw that.
Yeah, because I got two. I got to take the other one back because I wasn't sure whether I could get in those sizes because I know they're quite clingy, aren't they? But then I'm thinking, am I going to be going down in the cold weather with it on? I'm not sure. So
I think even if you just splash your face or have cold showers, it's really beneficial.
Yeah.
I go to Clevedon Marine Lake, and in the UK, quite a lot of these marine lakes exist, like in Weston-super-Mare. And there's this huge freshwater quarry at Vobster, which is about 45 minutes from here up towards Bath. And it's they do diving there and they do freshwater swimming. It's just an amazing place. So that keeps me, that sorts my head out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a shock to, I try the hot and cold shower, so I go round hot, I go round and then I have a quick cold and then it's like, whoa. Work in progress, the cold lark. Oh, God. Right. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today before we finish?
No, I'd just like to say a really big thanks to everyone in Avalon who's been supporting what we're doing here. And, we love this place. And I just want to say a big thanks to you guys as well for interviewing me today. I was a little bit nervous because I've never really had such a long interview, but I've really enjoyed it. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting this campaign and what I'm speaking out about. So yeah, it is really worth standing up for this beautiful, beautiful place.
And you've got to, otherwise you'll be, all the others would be taken over and you would have lost everything that was there,
Exactly.
So, in a nutshell. So anyway, I don't know what farm shop you got there, West Hay. I don't know if that's the same one.
MEARE, it's spelled.
MERE.
MEARE. You sent me up the garden path, you girls. Took me a while to find it.
Well, anyway, it's highly recommended. So,
they'll be inundated. I'll be going down there. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. I mean, and they got sausages, bacon, and cheese in the fridges, and and I got grapes, nice punnet of grapes for £1, and things like that. So anyway, I won't harp on about that.
We've got crops, not shops, near here as well. You may have heard of. Amazing things.
I only saw it. A friend invited me to the group.
There's an amazing festival they put on as well, and I really recommend that. And they also do veg boxes. I work here. I volunteer for the community fridge here, where we go and collect. Yeah. In fact, I'll be going today. We go to the supermarkets, collect food, and put it in there. That's
all I ever see is bread in there. There's loads of bread and nothing else.
Oh, but but the thing is, all the good stuff gets snapped up. But believe me, some amazing stuff. And even people who grow stuff put it in there. So like a few weeks ago, there was loads of courgettes and loads of marrows, and it's an incredible resource. And, it's things like that, I think, that will change if the World Heritage comes in. We celebrate the travellers here as well. A lot of us, they bring a lot to the town. And, but it's like, they really do need a traveller site. It's no good to just keep paying 17,000 on evictions and evicting the zigzag. They need a space, to be provided for them. So, we feel like that the face of the town will change. But, things like the community fridge, things like our traveller community, we should be celebrating really, rather than, wanting to sweep it under the carpet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and ban talks and things. Yes. All right, lovely. Well, it's been an absolute delight talking with you again, and thank you so much for being our guest this week. And anything, Jeffrey, you want to add?
No, I've been listening here and putting up all the stuff that Amanda sent over the weekend.
Well, thank you so much. And anybody out there, just go for it. If there's something happening in your area and you feel quite strongly about it, just take little steps towards a campaign. It could just be a little meeting that you call. Mine started with a meeting between myself and a friend in my local community cafe, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for doing all the time. Thank you so much, Andrena, for this opportunity. Thank you.
I'm wishing you good luck in your film and all what you're doing. May the force be with you, and the source. And same time, same place next week, everyone. Thank you for listening.